Hello, everybody. I hope you had a nice weekend. We're going to continue with Hate That Cat. We're almost done. And in fact, you guys are almost done with school. You're almost fifth graders. Anyway, but I'm so excited. Um, so we're going to continue with this, but I also wanted to tell you that I found Black Cat by Christopher Myers. It's an old book. It's not in print anymore, so I can't read it to you as an ebook. But if you come to one of the office hours and you want, I'll read it to you. So have a great week. We are almost fifth graders. I'm so proud of you. So here we go. January 3rd. The Gift Inspired by Mr. Williams, Carlos Williams by Jack. So much depends upon a black kitten in a basket under the Christmas tree. Ooh. January 4th. My parents woke me up early seemed in a hurry to rush me downstairs to the Christmas tree blinking and fire crackling. I didn't see it right away. A little straw basket tucked to one side. I was on the floor, pawing through the packages, when something moved. I thought maybe it was a mouse that had crept inside. I jumped back. Not that I was afraid of a mouse, um, but it wouldn't be my favorite thing to encounter in a pile of presents. Me neither. And then I saw a blur of black fur, and I thought, oh no, 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 no! It's the fat black cat. But then a pink nose, tiny black paws, blinking sleepy eyes, a small black fur ball, not a big fat fur ball, a kitten stumbling out of the basket and wobbling over to me and crawling up on my lap. Aww. And licking my pajamas, and I forgot I hate cats, and it crawled up into my chest and purred. I was smiling all over the place. January 8th. So much inspired by Mr. William Carlos Williams by Jack. So much depends upon a black kitten dotted with white beside the photo of my yellow dog. Oh, Sky. January 10th. My is like a I couldn't think of a simile. Brain broken. Can't even think of a name for a bouncing black kitten. That's how broken my brain is. I call her Kitty or Mushy and Wiggles and Flopper, but I don't have a real name for her yet. Don't tell anyone those goofy names I use, okay? They're embarrassing. January 14th. The naming of cats by T.S. Eliot made me laugh. Munkustrap, Bombalurina, Jellyrum. That Mr. T.S. Eliot, is he alive? Must like cats. And do you think it is true that cats have their own secret names? The only they know? Their infallible, effable names? Only I will unfreeze my brain now and write a simile, but I'm warning you, it might not be too good. The chair in my room is like a pleasingly plump mama. January 17th. Go on, tell why that chair is like a pleasingly plump mama. The chair is in my room and is pleasingly plump mama, big and squishy and stuffing poking out. It is over there in the corner, sitting quietly, silently, waiting for me to come and jump in her lap and bring a book or two or a blanket when I'm sick. That plump mama chair just sits there waiting for me, and while she waits, she looks a little lonely, to tell you the truth. She used to have a dog to jump into her lap when I wasn't home, but all that is left is my good yellow dog, all pieces of his fur stuck here and there. And now there's a kitten, but the kitten doesn't like the yellow chair half as much as she likes my pillow. January 24th. After a tremendous tugging at my broken brain, I finally dug up a metaphor. It's about the kitten who now has a name, Skitter McKitter, because that's what she does. Skitter here, skitter there, skitter everywhere. Ready for the metaphor? The black kitten is a poet, leaping from line to line, sometimes running rapidly, sometimes soothingly slowly, here and there, up and down and up, in silent, steady rhythm, exploring all the tiny pieces of the world. January 18th. Well, no, don't put it on the board because now that I read it, it doesn't make sense. I know what I'm trying to say, but I didn't get it right. The kitten is a poet. It's something I feel, but I can't get it into words. A good poet would be able to paint with words things that you can feel but don't know how to say. It's sort of like when my mother puts one hand on my back and one hand on my chest to hear me laughing or feel me laughing because she understands what my laughing sounds like and feels like. She can see me laugh and she can sign the words for laugh, but she cannot hear the laugh. Yesterday, she put one hand on Skitter's back and one hand on her stomach so she could hear the purr. I cannot explain a purr, just like I cannot explain why the kitten is a poet, but she is. And I cannot explain how my mother paints words with her hands, but she does. And I cannot explain how, when we paint words with each other, I hear sounds, but I do not know if she hears anything. Any strange or amazing or good or terrible or sparkling or fizzling sounds at all. So much depends upon hands waving in the air, making words without sounds. February 11th. Now this is his poem. It's a concrete poem, and for some reason it didn't come up in the book right. So check out my slides, and you'll see the whole poem. All right. So February 11th. My Yellow Chair by Jack. Low yellow chair, yellow chair, yellow chair, squishy, soft, squishy, squishy, soft, squishy, hole. So there's a hole in the chair. Rounded, arm, squishy, squishy, yellow for squishy, leg. And so if you check out, I'm sorry to interrupt my reading, but if you check out the slides this week's on Miss Stretchberry's slides, you'll see the whole picture of the chair. I'm not sure why it didn't come out in the book, but anyway, just FYI. February 14th. Happy Valentine's Day! I liked when you said we could try turning the metaphors upside down or inside out, and I liked when you used my chair poem as an example. So instead of saying the chair is like a pleasingly plump mama, we could try my mama is like a pleasingly plump chair, except that now everyone thinks my mother is very plump and looks like a chair, and it doesn't mean the same when you turn them around. Because while the chair is a lot like a plump mama, my mother is like so much more than a chair. February 21st. Well, okay, I will try it. Here goes. My mother is like a plump chair, all squishy stuff and huggy. When you sit in her lap, just so you know, I am too old to sit in her lap, and I'm just saying this for the poem. Her arms hold you in so you won't fall and will feel safe. And she's very sturdy legs. Although I want to make it clear that my real mother has two legs, not four, and a straight back. She is proud, but not too proud, and she is there waiting for me, always quietly waiting for me. End of poem. So here's the problem. My real mother can't always be waiting for me because she works at night. And my mother doesn't sit in the same place every day in and out like a chair does. She's always moving, her hands waving in the air, talking to us with those hands. She isn't plump at all, and like I said, she has two legs, not four, and so really, she is not very much like a chair at all. I will never be a real poet. February 25th. Today, the fat black cat up in the tree by the bus stop dropped a nut on my head. Thunk! And when I yelled at it, that fat black cat said, "Murr, murr." in a nasty, spiteful way. I hate that cat. February 28th. I'm getting a little worried about poor Mr. Williams, Carlos Williams. Is he alive? I mean, first there was the poem with the wheelbarrow and the chickens, and it's true, I like the poem. Now it grows on you, but those two poems about plums, I think Caitlin was crying because she felt stupid. And to tell you the truth, I felt stupid too because even though those were nice little thingies that Mr. Williams Carlos Williams said about the sweet plums and the old lady, and even though I could see little pictures in my mind when you were reading the plum poems, it would be very, very hard to explain to my uncle why those are poems and not little notes or scribbled on a scrap of paper. And did you notice that Mr. Williams Carlos Williams does not use much in the way of alliteration or onomatopoeia or simile or metaphor? Did you notice that? March 6th. This morning I left a note for my mother. This is just to say I've eaten the pudding that was in the fridge and which you were maybe saving for dessert. Forgive me. It was so yum, so thick, so creamy. March 7th. Those non poems of Cuckoo Mr. Williams, Carlos Williams, are running in my head. Mom in the kitchen, inspired by Mr. Carlos Williams by Jack. Crunching on a pickle in the middle of the room, juice running down her arms. It tastes good to her. It tastes good to her. It tastes good to her. Can you tell by the way she closes her eyes and licks her lips? And then her arm, refreshed, a song of dill pickles filling in the air. It tastes good to her. March 13th. You know what? Today in the library I found some more poems by Mr. William Carlos Williams. And do you know what he wrote? A poem about a cat. The title in the poem by Mr. Williams Carlos Williams, A Little Lazy. And it is the only a cat climbing over a jam closet. What is a jam closet? And into a flower pot. That is it. That is the poem? But soon as I read it, I saw in my head Skitter McKitter, my black kitten. So here is the non poem about her. Non poem, inspired by Mr. Williams Carlos Williams by Jack. As the kitten leaped over the pot, the blue violets first the front paws, gracefully, then the hind paws landing into the bottom of the kitchen sink. March 14th, another non-poem inspired by Mr. Williams Carlos Williams by Jack. The fat black cat crouched onto the limb of the maple tree, needles, claws scratching the bark menacingly, then the tail whacking at the branch in warning. March 21st. Just as I expected, my Uncle Bill is not a big fan of Mr. William Carlos Williams. Uncle Bill says that Mr. WCW is a minor poet and a faux poet. Later, my dad explained that it meant faux, means fake. And I said, what about so much depends upon poem and the Plums poems, which are stuck in my head, and, and I can say them from memory. And Uncle Bill said, overrated, highly overrated. And I found myself sticking up for poor Mr. William Carlos Williams and the small, ordinary things he writes about, and the small, ordinary moments that you don't notice until you read his poems. And Uncle Bill said, small things, small moments. Give me large things, large moments. Give me a poems that about death and dying, about war and tragedy and philosophical metaphors. Give me sonnets, give me odes, blah, blah, blah. The only interesting thing he said while he was visiting was that he is allergic to cats, and he sneezed a lot just to prove it. And he made us lock Skitter McKitter in my room, and when he left, my dad said two things. First, sometimes I envy your mom not being able to hear. And second, if Uncle Bill is allergic to cats, maybe he won't be able to visit us anymore. Ha ha! March 26th. This is the first to say Skitter McKitter has run away. And maybe Uncle Bill would say that it's not a tragedy, but in our house, it is a tragedy. March 27th. How can you go from hating cats to loving one cat in particular, one black cat, one Skitter McKitter cat, who chases a brown nut across the wood floor, who trails balls of strings over chairs and under tables, and who follows over backwards when she's swatting at a plant, who leaps in your lap and purrs, and who sleeps on your pillow curled behind your head, with one paw on your ear, and who crawls under the covers to nip at your toes. Oh no. How can you love a little cat so much in such a short time? March 28th. Last night my mother signed the word cat and tapped her heart. Hard, soft, hard, soft, hard, soft. March 31st. Still no Skitter McKitter. We think she got out when the plumber left the door open. I keep thinking about Mr. Christopher Myers' roaming cat and the person in the poem story who says over and over, "Where's your home? Where do you go?" There's a big emptiness in our house, just a little, just like there was when my dog Sky died. We've looked everywhere. We've called Skitter's name. We've put up bowls of milk. But the only cat who slurps the milk is the other black cat, the mean fat black cat who scratched me. I saw it creeping away from the milk bowl, licking its chin, lazy, waiting, waddling cat, flicking its proud tail. I hate that cat. More bad news. Yesterday I received a postcard from Walter Dean Myers, and on it he said that his cat died. He said his cat was old and had lived a good long life, but that he misses his cat. I know what he means. Keep your doors closed so your cats do not get out. And if you have any old cats, take good care of them. April 2nd. Skitter McKitter, here is your home. Why did you go? April 11th. So much depends upon a black kitten meowing outside your back door. Yes, Skitter McKitter is back. I heard scratching and then howling, but it didn't sound like Skitter. When I opened the door, there was the fat black cat making a ruckus, and then I heard a softer meowing, a kitten meowing, a Skitter meowing, and lying there beside the door was Skitter McKitter, looking thin and bedraggled, with a gash on one ear and a clump of fur missing from its neck. Then I went to reach for Skitter. The fat black cat put a paw out protectively and licked Skitter's ear, and then nudged Skitter up into my hands. And then the fat black cat sat there very still and silent as I carried Skitter inside. I left the door open in case the fat black cat wanted to come inside too. But instead, the fat black cat turned and walked away, whisking its fat black tail, whisk, whisk. I think that fat black cat found Skitter McKitter and saved her and brought her home. And I'm sorry, I hated that cat. When I held Skitter in my lap and petted her, she licked my hand. She licked it, and it tasted good to her. It tasted good to her. It tasted good to her. April 18th. The Kitten, inspired by Mr. Alfred Lord Tennyson, by Jack. She pats the package with a padded paw and pulls apart the golden gauze with her tiny furry jaws. Then, like an acrobat, she leaps, legs and ribbon, in a heap, tangled around and tangled deep. April 25th. The Purr, inspired by Edgar Allan Poe, and my new Thesaurus by Jack. Hear the kitten with her purr, humming purr. What a contagious contentment her vibrations spur. How she hums, keeping her time, in the sort of thrumming rhyme, in the murmurations of the thrums and the hums of her purr, 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 of the humming and the thrumming of her purr. Okay, and that's it for this week. We're almost done with the book, but go back and check out Miss Stretchberry. Um, you'll find the other poems that are there. I think Edgar Allan Poe was in last week's um, Miss Stretchberry's, but I hope you're enjoying this. Some of you have told me that you know who Edgar Allan Poe is and things like that. So, keep your ears open for these poems and things like that. Poetry is something that you'll have throughout your school career. So I hope you're at least enjoying it or trying to get into it. Anyway, have a great week. Love you guys. Hope to see you at one of the meetings. Bye.